So today, what I'm working on is getting the coffee maker sketched up so that I can do some space planning and layout. So one of the challenges that I've had is, when you're working on a small boat, you kind of have to design around the equipment because on a larger boat, you can make the equipment fit the space that you have, but on a smaller boat, what inevitably ends up happening is that your your space planning ends up fitting your galley, so to speak. In other words, you have to build the furniture to fit the equipment rather than the equipment to fit the furniture. And like in a house where you have standardized 30-inch, 15-inch, 24-inch cabinets, everything's either a multiple of 30 or of 12, 24, 36, or 15, 30, 45. um, Sometimes you get some 18s in there, 18, 18 is 36, but then it becomes 12, 24, 36. So that's kind of the way residential construction works. Whereas on a boat, it's a different story. So the goal here is basically going to be get some of these things modeled. Now, what I did with almost all of this stuff is these sketches were drawn at quarter scale. So a quarter of an inch was equal to 1 inch in the real world. And now what I'm doing is I have them scaled correctly in AutoCAD. But the problem with having them scaled correctly in AutoCAD is that I still can't use these shapes as elements of my design. I mean, I could use them as raster images, but I don't actually have the line work. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of going in here and tracing things and sort of making them correct enough that I can do the space planning. So for instance, in this case, the actual coffee maker is 10 inches tall. So our box here is actually 10 inches tall. So some of the other stuff, like here's the top of the clock, needs to get modeled. So that gets done. And AutoCAD 2000 is a little quirkier than newer versions because you have to trim in certain ways, but it's more than adequate for what I'm doing. So So it's more just a matter of like getting your various, elements put in there. So now the trick with this is going to be to extend him out. They did a weird thing with this coffee maker where they have this like underside lip, which I think gives it a little bit of space to hold the hot plate. And so design wise, it's a bit of a challenge to get it modeled in there because you have all of these things which need to line up. But no big deal. We can certainly get it done. I see. So what happened here is we have our the body of this getting in the way because we haven't yet offset this dimension. Okay. Oh. It looks weird, but this green line is actually right here. You know, sometimes you got to get creative. We probably need to turn on. Probably need to turn on tangent. Polar on. Yeah, I think we've got a good intersection. Here. Sort of. You know, this was easier with pen and paper. I have to tell you, this was easier with pen and paper. Oh, interesting. It did work out to be a 1/4 inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fillet radius. Sorry, we're going to radius 1/8 1/8 of an inch because our diameter is double the radius. That should be correct. Because I remember when I did this initially, it's visually, that's how it actually looks. Okay. So and we may have made a few small mistakes here, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a case of good enough for government work because we really only need the outside dimension of the coffee maker to be accurate. So we get that 1/8 inch radius here. Boom. It's a very 1987 sort of Star Trek look. I think this actual coffee maker dates from like 1984, 1987. I'm not sure when the design work was done, but very cool in that sense because it's very like optimistic, futuristic, modern without being sort of the current sort of whitewashed, flat modern. It's more like a stylistic, pretty modern, which I like. Boom. Okay. So that's cool. So now we've kind of got our layout. I think this handle will be easy to model. So basically the handle is just going to be definitely going to need ortho on. So let's take the handle. What did I do wrong? Mainly we're just trimming this stuff up because there's a sort of a there's a you want to get this stuff right. So just want to try to get all of this stuff exactly. So when you visually look at that in AutoCAD, you're like, oh yeah, that's my coffee maker. That's what that looks like. Not sure my circle drawing ability. I kind of did all this freehand, so I guess I'm kind of impressed with the clock, considering I did do it freehand. Yeah. I think it's more just some of the elements sort of being off center. Don't have polar on. Oh, you know what it is? We got ortho on, so we can't. So I think we're going to go with the 1/16 here. The idea being simply to recreate those interesting late 80s, honestly, probably mid 80s. I've seen some of these things from like 84 clock hands. So we're going to select everything. Going to kill the middle stuff. This is a little quirk I was talking about with trim. Earlier versions of AutoCAD, they're kind of like, oh, it's a they're like, yeah, it's a separate thing. You can't trim it. So alrighty. So not perfect, but we're definitely getting there. So one of the problems is right now this is on the what do you call it, this is on the dimensions layer. We don't want this on the dimensions layer. We want this on the I think it's called the appliance layer. Actually, not sure. So see how we're going to delete those segments on the outside. Oh, did a bad thing there. Got to start over. Oh well, it happens. All right, so now we're trimming. Starting with the outside in. Trying not to hit any good geometry. Good, that's a beautiful thing. So now we got our coffee maker. And yeah. So let's hit save. So now what we want to do is we want to change out this geometry to, it's not equipment cutout. I may need to make a new layer. Yeah, I think I got to make a new layer. We're going to call this appliances because we got blues, pinks, greens, purples. We don't have a pink. Let's go with just going with a full on. Should go for a full on pink. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to select these items here, and they're going to move down to appliances. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to turn off our tracing images layer, and then look, there's our coffee maker. Doesn't that look great? I think it looks great. So what I'm going to do now is coffee maker is going to become a block. We have a base point, and I'm basically going to go with middle top. I'm always amazed how many programs give you the ability to put in descriptions and people don't put them in there. So when you go back and try to figure out what the heck this was, you're like, what even was that? Now the cool thing about a block is that it makes this nice monolithic piece of artwork we can just drag around. So pretty cool. This is where we're at with the sink structure, and we're going to move this around here. And this was one of the reasons for doing this drawing is if we wanted to put the coffee maker like above the sink, this is where it would have to go on that cabinet. It could maybe go above this cabinet. Maybe go to the left of this cabinet right now. I think that's kind of cool. Could even go like down here behind the sink. You know, that could be a cool spot to get your coffee. Not totally sure. I feel like higher is better. But we're going to find out. This is our 30-inch countertop. This is our cutout for our radio, so we got to figure out where that's going to go. So there's lots of other cool stuff, but just wanted to kind of show you the design process on the tracing from the 1/4-inch sketches over to laying it out in the plan. Wow, you made it all the way to the end. That's impressive. So if you wouldn't mind, like, subscribe, do all those typical YouTube things. It helps the channel and it'll encourage me to make more of this kind of content. See you later.